Hello, everybody. All right, with that, and it says we got two people watching. But funny, on my YouTube screen, it still says only two likes, which is probably mine and YouTube's. YouTube will usually give you an automatic like during your show. That's
Well, it
another
says
thing.
two. Now,
Huh?
one of them's definitely mine.
It shows two. It shows two for you as well.
Yeah.
All right, something's goofy there because with yours and mine, it should be three with the way that they usually do it. So. Or maybe they've stopped that because I think maybe they've stopped that practice. I guess
I've
we'll
never
just
even
wait.
heard that being a thing, but I believe you.
Well, I noticed it. I've noticed it for a while now. So there we go.
I don't know. I have tons of videos that have literally 0 likes on them for years.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right. So actually, we were kind of talking about something pretty interesting even before the start of the show. I guess we can go back to that for. Or you think we should wait to see if we get more people in, or you want to start jumping right into
Oh,
things?
I mean, that's up to you.
Hmm.
We can.
I guess we can at least do a little intro here, and then like I usually give it about five. I used to give it 10 minutes before I'd start, but then that was just too long, and people weren't coming in anyway, so that's why I shifted it down to 5 minutes. So how'd your week go this week?
Um, it's been pretty chill, I'd have to say. Just a normal, busy but chill week.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you saw my coverage. What was it on Wednesday night? Um, Kind of a delayed on reporting on it because of course, when I was doing the overview of the Canadian comics history there, don't know if you had heard, but Crunchyroll had added a number of series to their library, including some of
No,
the new. Huh?
I did catch both episodes of you covering the Canadian stuff. I don't think I caught that.
Yeah, that was on Wednesday. The Canadian stuff was on Monday and Tuesday. That I did that on Monday and Tuesday.
I know
Uh,
why. At the same time on Wednesdays, I've been the show producer on the Matriarchy for like a year now. So
uh,
I would have had to go back and rewatch, and I probably forgot to.
yeah. Well, on Wednesday, I just simply covered so the article I covered was about Crunchyroll adding a bunch of new titles to their library. So um yeah. So anyways, let's see. We're at 3 minutes here. So just on for replay's sake, try to tell everybody we're gonna tell everybody of course tonight, Metal here with me. Metal, you want to introduce yourself and share any links or anything like that? Any
Oh,
projects you're
I'd actually
doing?
not grab one. Let me go grab. That's it. Let me share any of my main links. I think maybe it was just a problem on. But I was on the Matriarchy.
You're getting choppy. You're getting choppy.
It's because other people are using the internet. That's not.
Oh, in your house?
Yeah, yeah. How do I sound now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Okay.
sound better now.
All right. Well, so like on Wednesday, I was trying to share a link. So let me drop this here and see if it actually shares. Okay, it wasn't. It wouldn't let me share any links on Wednesday. Don't know why. Um, but hi, I am the Metal. I run a publication called X Dynamis Chaos, which is kind of like a online magazine featuring comics and pulps and such like that, all within a shared universe. I also do a number of other things, but that's the only one pertinent today. So
And this link is to
to that online publication.
okay. All right. So, any big news on any releases or anything like that, or anything you want to
Um,
announce?
no, because we're kind of like in the middle of production. Like I should be at least trying to get some pages to the webcomics out, but I'm also trying to get that magazine that I want to put out by the end of this year or beginning of next year, like in line. But it'll actually be something longer, but not dissimilar to what we'll be covering today in some ways.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. So now now we're just past. We're about 5.5 minutes. So before we, and just to let everybody know, for replay sake, of course, as well. So tonight we're going to be going over Silver Street Comics Volume 1, Issue 2 from Lev Gleason. Among the features will include The Claw, The Wasp, Mr. Midnight, Duke, and Red Reed's Boy Magician. Now, before we actually get into the reading, Metal and I were talking about something before the show. Something that I noticed, in my, as I would read these older anthologies a lot, and Metal had a very interesting explanation. So one of the things that I discovered, with a lot of these, well, first off, we've always known, as I've always pointed out, back in these days, comics were not called comic books; they were called comic magazines. Apparently, this is where this practice that I'm about to talk about was set up. So one of the things I've noticed in some of these older comic books, comic magazines, was how the lead feature was always the first story of the book. And your secondary feature, your primary backup feature, was the last story of the book, with stuff being filled in between. Now, Metal has an explanation for that. If you want to share that explanation.
Yeah, so the comic industry comes out of two industries that are kind of joined together, right? It's the newspaper and magazine industry. Newspapers were always set up kind of formulaic, where you'll have like your newspaper sections, but magazines are feature books, right? Like any type of magazine, whether you get Time Magazine, Vanity Fair, whatever, they're all feature books. And on the cover, there'll be a cover image with a title feature that you'll read, and then there'll also be some other features, one bolder than the others, which will basically be your secondary feature. And you would put it in the same way, like maybe before it, you might have some ads, maybe a letter from the editor, but like the first thing you read will be that cover feature, and then the last thing you read will kind of be that secondary bolder feature. So the two main things that you want to read are the bookends to try to get you to read everything in between.
Right. Yeah. Like I know one example that I was telling you about earlier was like an Action comic. Superman is usually your first story in that book back in these days, when he wasn't the only feature in the book. Zatara was your secondary feature in the back of the book, and then your third main feature was Tex Thompson. He was like right in the middle. So you'd have 7 or 8 books there. So you usually find Tex Thompson anywhere between like 4 and 6, the 4th and 6th story in the book, and then everything else is kind of just wherever,
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
that
how,
was
like, all magazines still work that way if you ever just pick up a magazine. But even comic mags, if you go over to Japan, which they have all their magazine practices come from us since we kind of started the magazine industry, go and buy a copy of like Jump Weekly. It'll be the same thing where they'll have like 2 to 3 big players, because usually they'll call them the big 3 at the time, and like the biggest one will be on the front. Maybe they'll rotate them around because they want to give some service to all of them. Then they'll be like the second most popular will be in the back, and then kind of sandwiched right in the middle will be the third, and then everything else is just in between. And they kind of like subsidize all these other stories through these bigger ones that people want to read.
Right. It's like you spark interest in the lesser known stories by, like if you get a person to read the story, okay, so you see the first story and then you kind of skim through. Oh, and then you see this story, and then until you get to the end, you just pick out the stories. And one of the things too about, even to a lesser degree with it. Now, granted, by this point in 1939, the superhero anthologies were starting to really take off at this point. Before that, a lot of the anthologies were hodgepodge type anthologies, meaning you had a little bit of everything in them. You had your adventure stories, you had your noir, you had your gag stuff. So you had a little bit of everything in them usually, so So with that little tidbit out of the way, why don't we get into our feature presentation, as it were, right?
Yeah,
And
let me
metal, as always.
tab back over.
What was that?
Oh, so let me tab back over so I can have a copy of it in front of me. Because I know I can see your screen, but it's bigger on my screen if I have my own tab open.
Yeah, that's why I do it that way too. That's why I do it that way too. Because it's all right. So here we go. So a new number, Silver Streak, 10 cents, comics. Just kind of shrink it down to 150 there. Just action, adventure, mystery, and as always, well, you're gonna. You feel up to reading along with me tonight? Doing character voice.
Sure, yeah. You can just tell me who to read. I'll read it.
Okay, and then, well, I'll let you handle the female voices. You do that better than I do.
Yeah, if many of them show up. When I scanned through here, there might have been a couple, but it was a kind of a sausage fest in this magazine.
Yeah. Well, the Duke story, there's an interesting kind of kidnapping damsel in distress story. That's part of the reason why I picked it. But when we get there, well, you see the girl right there.
Yeah.
Somebody got a hold of that girl right there. Yeah, and of course, as always, if anything catches your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Just let me know, hey, I want to say something, so that I'll stop reading. So I'll have to give you a chance to comment. The Claw, Master Criminal, Lance Hale, Tropical Daredevil, Red Reed's Boy Magician, and many other thrill-packed, fast-moving features. Daniel Boone. If Boone had not known how to kill two birds with one bullet, Indians might have massacred the people of Boonesboro.
Yeah. So this is another thing that makes it more magazine-like than modern comics, right? Because you get these little almost pulp features. It's a little too short to be considered a pulp, but you get these written features with illustrations next to it that you don't really see. Like you don't open up even like a feature comic of Superman and get like a random page in there telling you what Jimmy Olsen was doing that day.
Right. Okay, so here we go. Here's our first feature we're going to look at. The Claw. War! I just got to get into and here. So, anyway. Jerry Morris, master chemist and adventurer, has succeeded in rescuing Eloise Pearsall from the mad Claw, a monster of miraculous powers who is out to dominate the universe. Aboard the ship. All right, because I do need. Let's see. Okay. Aboard the ship,
Morosa.
anchored at the island of Rika, home of the Claw. Another moment, and the Claw's hideout will be no more. Jerry's very words were drowned out by a deafening sound. Passengers breathe easier as the Morosa sails from this evil island.
So, I mean, they give you everything you need to know about this story at the very beginning, but it does feel like we're picking up at the end of another story. Was there one before this, or is this just how they decided to write this one?
It was in the first issue.
Okay.
I read it with RJ, so yeah. So But among the smoldering ruins of the Claw's castle, it lies a map. It reveals an underground network of rooms. Inside sits the Claw. So you want to do the radio announcement there?
Yeah. I'm just looking at it. Is this castle like on top of a volcano?
Well, maybe.
It's interesting. But yeah, war has been declared. Millions are being slaughtered by an aggressor nation whose dictator seeks to conquer all Europe.
He listens to the radio. Okay, I probably should have read that a little sooner, but the Claw meditates. He steps out onto the platform. Overturning his huge underground munitions.
He's overlooking.
Overlooking his huge underground munitions. Sometimes hard to pick up on what's being written there.
Oh yeah, no, this is not the best scan in the world by far, but it might have been the highest quality they could get.
Let me just check something here. That might. Oh yeah, I think you want to do the Claw right there, bad guy.
Sure. It is time.
Soon afterwards, the aggressor nation's dictator receives a visit.
I am here to offer you the use of my powers in your conquest, in return for which I will receive half of Europe.
And if I refuse,
do you see this vase?
Oh, look who they have. Look at who.
Oh yeah.
As the aggressor nation.
That's Dolph, for sure.
Yes, it's that guy, right?
Dolphy boy.
All right.
First he gets rejected from every art school in Germany. Now he gets his vase crushed in front of him.
You leave me with but one alternative to accept your terms. You leave me but one alternative to accept your terms.
It is well.
Oh my God!
We mobilize at once.
Look at the look at that. Look at what's behind the aggressor nation right there.
Oh well, you could see that actually in the first panel that he shows up in on the previous page. It's not in full view, but you could tell clearly what it is.
Oh yeah, I see now.
Yeah.
I can both those panels. Back at the Claw's base, men work night and day in feverish. Now, if people were to see that, if people today were to see that, could you just see some SJWs just crying about it? Like, how dare you show that?
I don't think so.
But
it's only because this is very, very clearly a bad guy, and they're okay with Nazis being bad guys. In fact, they would probably prefer if all bad guys were Nazis.
Interesting take there. Back of the Claw's base. Okay. In feverish preparation for big push, Orientals scurry to and fro, loading shells into a mammoth undersea mobile fortress.
Now, if anything, they'd have more of a problem with that dialogue box right there because they referred to these Easterners as Orientals, even though that is literally what the word means.
Yeah. Days of incessant preparation, then the armored train of destruction moves out into the ocean and and propels itself towards the Allied countries. So we're not even in World War II yet at this point, and they're already talking about allies.
Yeah.
America's not even in the war yet. It's still like 2 years away before we're even in the war, right? It settles down to begin Operation Big Guns, point upward from airtight turrets. Boom! And the wicked offensive begins. Ship after ship is blown up and sunk, killing a countless number of innocent people. Oh, how
So I have
evil!
a
Oh,
issue
go ahead.
with the editorial here, right? So back in the day, you could use hyphens in this case, but aside for the really long hyphen after and, which is clearly supposed to be like suspense, right? Like it's a cutoff, it's a long drag for
Right.
like and sunk kill like that. But then there's one after the word operations. And while hyphens used to be used like this, we have another punctuation that would be better for that called the semicolon, because we're just so used to hyphens connecting words, but this is supposed to be like a breather in between of the sentence, right? And I just have an issue with editorial choosing hyphens in this case.
Yeah. But this is probably more of a common practice back then too. I would say.
Both were equally common, and I understand why that practice was dropped.
Mhm. Yeah. So, anyways, as we continue on here, then. Yeah. So, some interesting notation there. Thank you for that. And as always, for those who may be in the chat, one, if you can, of course, like and share the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions the best of our ability. So, with that, so sunken ships are transported on the newly constructed underwater railroad back to the munitions factory at Rika.
Which is a
Meanwhile,
horrible idea
what was that?
to have an underwater railroad like that completely uncovered. Not even just for the train itself, because you could have that completely like basically a submarine on wheels, but like the maintenance of the tracks would be horrible just to have them completely left oxidized to the water around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the tracks oxidized like that, that would probably make it hard to actually move on those tracks, right?
Yeah, and they'd be
Rust,
liable to
all that stuff.
split as like tectonic plates move and stuff. Like it's just a bad idea.
But apparently, people back in this day and age thought it was a great idea. Apparently,
Yeah, you would be better because you could make an underwater sea like that, undersea train. What you'd want is you'd want it to kind of be like in a tube and basically on like stilts or whatever, so that as the ground shifts, it doesn't actually break the track and it won't oxidize. Keep that in mind, fiction writers.
yeah. Granted, the people who are writing this stuff are long dead, obviously. So your advice probably falls on
No, this is for like any new writers that might want to make something like that, who might listen to the show sometime in the future.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point. Meanwhile, long-range guns fire shells whose velocity is so great that huge fish are thrown up to, thrown upward, and there's a little hyphen there that I didn't catch at first. In the after suction. Now this is more editorial than anything else here.
Oh yeah, this is all like just narration straight up.
Yeah. Exact precision interrupts exact
Instruments.
precision instruments enable the claws forces to bomb cities 50 miles inland accurately.
That actually would have been a huge deal at the time because that's before we have like intercontinental ballistic missiles.
ICMs.
Yeah.
ICBMs. Yeah. Let's see. Suburban districts suffer most. The cowards of the of war. Or no, oh. Yeah. Okay. The cowards of war take greatest delight in demoralizing resistance with repeated attacks on innocent civilian populations.
Yeah, that's another case where like that hyphen after most probably should have just been a semicolon because it makes it look like those words are connected, but that's clearly supposed to be like a break in the speech.
Yeah. Inside the fortress, the Claw counsels with his generals.
Snails! Your progress has been too slow. We are not prepared for a long siege. It must be won by a lightning blow. I will strike tomorrow.
That's pretty good there, Metal. In secret code, all ships of the aggressor nation are warned to head for port. The following night, at full moon, a claw-like hand rises from the inky Atlantic. Larger and larger he swells. Hypnotic hum. Soon the ocean begins to boil in the direction of the claw. A great whirlpool forms about his outstretched fingers.
I think this is supposed to be figure.
Oh, look at the nails on his hand there.
Oh, yeah. Well, you get why he's called the Claw, right?
Yeah. I mean, unlike Wolverine later, who has the claws coming out of the top part of his hands, this guy's got them coming out of his fingernails.
Yeah. I mean, that's typically where claws actually come out of, though, if we think about it.
Yeah. Ocean currents change, pulling ships off their courses and drawing them ever nearer to the vortex. And we got another long hyphen there.
Mm-hmm.
Many crash against the rocky reefs. Now there's something. Look on the bottom left there. The bottom left there. The bottom.
Yeah, I see it.
Well, okay.
There's some not safe for YouTube words in there.
No, that's not where I was actually going with it.
Oh, what were you looking at?
I'm looking at okay. It's kind of hard to tell if it's a knife or like a foot, but I think it's a hand because it looks like he's holding on to a knife there.
Yes, there's a hand holding onto a knife.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be...
The way they got it drawn, to me, for whatever reason, it looks kind of like a foot.
Yeah. So I can tell you exactly what this is, right? What we see is the side of the boat, right, with the water leaking out, and we see the silhouette that is the exact same action happening with this hand holding the knife, but they can't show you the person, unaliving themselves. So they just show you the shadow of what they're doing, and the hand lines up with it perfectly, so this is what you're seeing.
Oh, so are you saying that the person
This is the same person
is committing suicide?
Yes.
Frantic passengers commit suicide. Oh, it even says so right there.
Yeah. Instead of
you wanna do
drowning
this
to
guy?
death, which is a horrible way to die, they just decided, hey, I'm just gonna take me out right now.
All right, since I've been doing the narration,
Yeah.
you want to do this guy as well?
Yeah. What can we do? All ocean currents are heading towards one point. It means disaster.
In the Weather Bureau, so I should have probably read the narration first there, but at the Weather Bureau in Washington, both Arctic and maybe I did read it in the correct order there. Both Arctic and Antarctic waters rush from the polar regions, bringing cold weather to the tropics.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell which order you should read things in, because most of the time it will be in order from top to bottom, left to right, right? But sometimes the panel is just drawn so awkwardly that they have to put things in a certain order, even if it doesn't make sense for it to be that way.
Yeah. Natives of the tropics see snow for the first time. The climatic change lays waste all vegetation. The ship Morosa tosses about mercilessly. Jerry Moores and his young brother Tad are aiding the crew. Steady, boy. Suddenly, a heavy chain wraps itself around Tad's leg, pulling him overboard. Tad! Jerry, torn beyond all reason, dives after his beloved brother.
Man overboard!
Strong arms pull Jerry aboard, exhausted. He's gone. With aching heart, he watches the murderous waters rage. So wow. Now I don't know, if that is the end all there, but they just depicted the murder of a kid.
Yeah. Well, this is very early story here between both Jerry and the Claw, right? So they gotta give him some motivation for why he wants to end the deeds of the Claw more than just being a horrible person, right? So you're gonna have him kill his little brother.
Yeah. Then grim realization of the truth comes. There is but one cause of such chaos: the Claw. From this day forth, I will not rest until the enemy of man is destroyed. Wow! Now that right there, classic, right?
Yeah, that's a hero motivation.
Do you think that particular phrasing comes up in comics at this point? I want to.
No, because motivation sucks in modern comics. Like nobody even has a good motivation anymore.
Well, yeah, because people will try to just say, well, he shouldn't feel that way. A lot of these, I will not rest until the enemy of man is destroyed.
Yeah, and I think that it is very much as a I don't want to blame any one group of people because I think it's everybody, right? But there's almost like this lethargy that comes in the modern day because nobody has these type of stakes in their lives anymore, right? Nothing driving. So it's like the best motivation you can have is like somebody stepped on your pizza or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to do something like that where somebody stepping on your pizza would be considered overkill.
Yeah, you would do it for comedic purposes, not to give a character like a serious driving point.
Yeah. Hmm. Captain, can you come to my room for a minute?
Oh, what for?
This appears to be an ordinary flashlight, but watch.
Oh, what? It freezes water? But this is no time for tricks, Morris. I...
This may prove our salvation, Captain. Let's see. These light bulbs are filled with a gas of my own discovery. It will freeze liquids when charged with electric. So, wow, look at the science that they're applying here.
I have issues with the science.
Oh, you have issue? Okay, what's your issue with this particular science?
Okay, so he's like holding up the glass jar, right, and spilling the water and it's freezing. But like this liquid or the flashlight and everything, the gas is going over his hand. Our entire arm is filled with liquid. Like you wouldn't be able to point this thing towards a human body at all without killing a person. And like, yeah, you could direct gas using like light, right? That's how plasma trails are done. But like a low intensity of a light bulb, I'm going to be less critical in that part because we didn't know that much about plasma back then, right? So they can only work off of what they know. But still, like he'd be he'd be freezing his own arm just by pointing the flashlight at it.
See, and this is why having co-hosts is fun because sometimes the co-host can see things that I can't just as myself. So we're doing this and we're doing these deep dives. It's good. That's why it's good to have.
Oh yeah, like he's got blood flowing right through his arm. That's a liquid. It's mostly water.
Yeah. I wonder how the cells at work would have responded to something like that.
They would have been freaking out.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, by the way.
Yeah, no, the manga Cells at Work.
Yeah, the manga, aka anime. I just recently watched it a couple months ago, so that's why I mentioned it. All right, so
it's like a Japanese version of Osmosis Jones, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, it's yeah. But what good is all this?
I believe you have 5 automobiles in your hold, consigned to Singapore. Bring them up on deck at once. Winch wheels turn, the cars are raised to the deck. Now, have your mechanics make 5 sets of chains with spurs like this. According to instructions, the chains are made in great haste. Good. We'll put these bulbs in the headlights. The headlights are then focused downward. The long hyphen again.
Yeah. Which I like the long hyphen. I think the long hyphen's good. It's these short ones that are used instead of semicolons that are the problem.
Long fill glass tanks occupy the tire compartments. I'll need all your available men, rifles, and diving suits, Captain. Then Jerry waits the most opportune moment Finally, it comes the next evening as the Morosa is sucked mile by mile near the Claw's whirlpool. The water is swift but smooth. Let's go.
Lower away.
Don't you just love the science they're applying though here in the story?
Yeah, I'm just like, I like the attempt. That I appreciate that. The science is really bad, but I like the attempt. Right? It's just like, how would even putting gas in the light bulbs do this? I don't even know. But hey, at least they're being creative.
Yeah. Well, people might say they're either being creative or smoking crack, one of the two, right?
There's a fine line, and sometimes there's not a difference.
Oh, anyways, that smoking crack part was a joke. I hope everybody.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't be doing that back then. It would, if anything, they would have just been lines of raw cocaine.
Yeah. And the unbelievable caravan speeds away, in a frozen, on a frozen highway of its own making. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Hey, Tim.
you know what they're doing here? It seems like.
Yeah, they're kind of almost pulling like an Iceman or whatever, but they're using the headlights of the car to make their own road.
They're using cars to play Iceman.
Yeah.
Bobby Drake. My thoughts exactly. I'm gonna go off camera here for a quick moment, so I'll be right back. So if you want to share any more thoughts, hey, Timothy's here.
Yeah. He says reasons.
Yeah, we're reading reasons. So
That's why the science works, for reasons.
Yeah. So you want to tell Timothy and anybody else who might be watching about the science of this time, apparently?
Yeah, no, it's just like, because they're, you go off camera. It's just, obviously, they're working with what they know. Especially because, like, most writers for fiction, I guess this falls into sci-fi. It's more fantasy than not, which is why I give it a slide. Because if we look at the Claw, there's clearly no science behind him. He's just like this weird magic entity that can make himself a giant. He's pulling Ursula in the middle of the in the ocean before Ursula did it. And they're trying to combat it with science. But it's like that kind of mystical, magic-y sci-fi stuff, which I prefer more than when people try to pretend it's actual science. But none of this actually works in any way. You can just putting gas inside a light bulb is not going to change like how the light interacts, and no amount of gas you put inside of a light bulb, if it leaks out, could actually do this, because you'd run out of gas way before you'd freeze anything. But it's fun. I like it. I also like, instead of just making a road straight up, it creates like an entire ice highway that its foundation goes all the way down to the ocean floor. Which it's a not to scale diagram. I'm gonna have to tell you, this is definitely not to scale, because where they are in the ocean would be way deeper than that. They're like, I'm wondering how they're freezing the water all the way down, and it's not just like cascading further to the side, because you can't isolate temperature like that, right? Water is a medium. If you started freezing part of it, it would start like icing off to the sides too. You'd be like making like how a lake freezes, and then it would stop to a point, because the warmer water around it would eventually stop the caloric change of the water. Like, you don't have infinite energy, but still it would be way wider than just what's right in front of the headlights of these cars. See, he says, hey, I have an idea. Sniff. We have the cars drive on ice. Sniff. Yep, all that. They were putting ice inside of them. Yeah, that's not sniffing. Or cutting animals in half. Oh yeah, the science in old comics. I love it though. I love it because it is more fantasy than it is science. I think that the bigger problem is in more modern comics, where they stop pretending that it was fantasy and they think that they're doing more science than magic.
All right, so let's kind of get caught up here. So, hey, I have an idea, Sniff. We have the cars drive on an ice, Sniff. uh, or cutting animals in half. All right. So, anyways, back, of course, to the reading here. Anyways, headlights fitted with the special gas pulled or fill special gas filled bulbs. There is a small hyphen there. Cast a penetrating ray into the water, thus freezing a wall of ice, reaching to the very ocean bottom. So you look at that side view of ice wall, front view.
Yeah, and this is what I was just
Ocean
complaining
bottom.
about. I was like, there's the bottom of the ocean floor is way too far down.
For that to happen.
Yeah.
It is kind of remarkable, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Hours later, Jerry's men arrive at the swirling whirlpool edge.
Look, that maelstrom.
At a given signal, the cars branch out and encircle the vortex. This isolates the suction and restores the outer ocean with calmness.
Now, let me explain why this is unnecessary. Because the ice goes all the way down the ocean floor, they already built a wall that should be cutting off the suction power of the whirlpool, because that water is just going to be crashing into a wall of ice. It would stop the whirlpool from actually circling back around to itself.
Yeah, but it's fun what they're trying to do, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fun kind of to look and laugh at some of the leaps of logic, as we like to call them, that applied in these older comics. Quickly empty these tanks of acid into the center. If the monster is down there, this will fix him. Look at that. So they're going to try to burn the guy with acid by pouring it into the water.
Yeah, see, and I'm not against the circling of the cars if their excuse was, hey, we're going to do this to trap the guy from leaving. Like, that's actually a better reason than trying to cut off the vortex.
Yeah. Hurry before we're discovered. Drawn downwards by the suction, the devastating acid melts the metal fortification. Now I'm wondering, acid can actually still work in water like that?
Oh, yes, it can. Actually, that's the one thing here that isn't bunk science. If it has acids, anything that are defined as acid has a negative pH value. Or technically not negative, it's below 7. 7's the middle pH. So anything between like 6.9 to 0 is an acid. And because of the strong difference in composition, acids and waters will remain separately until they can filter out and the pH value kind of like reaches equilibrium. So it'll still remain like a clump of acid for quite a while until the currents shifted away. I think the currents are the bigger problem here than being in water.
Right. Water pours into the crumbling fortification.
Water!
Look how that acid is turning them all green, apparently.
Yeah.
Screaming men feel the unseen, unbearable pain of disintegration.
Yeah, so that's my problem is acid could still work in water. They're apparently still suction for the vortex that's pulling the water down to them, so that's fine. It might be able to eat through the metal of the boat because metal is highly susceptible to acidic erosion. I think by the time it gets in, mixed with the seawater and stuff, it might burn a little, but like a hot shower burns. I think these guys are probably fine.
Yeah. Eating through wall after wall. Water rushes onward toward the surprised claw. We're doomed, Master. Acid!
What? Stupid idiots! Let them die!
Temporarily defeated, the claw retreats through the long string of connected units. And there's that circle of ice again.
Yeah. I'm wondering how the units, the string of units are going through the ice. Did, like, one of them just get frozen in between and it's just, like, still keeping
I
a
think
tunnel?
they're about to explain that here.
Yeah.
It must be explained at this point that Jerry's encirclement of the claw included only a part of the long line of fortified units, thus permitting escape from center A to outside B.
Yeah, at least they thought of it, because the only way I'm imagining that, right? So if the units were already moving and then they froze over them because for some reason this only freezes like a triangle going straight down, then I guess the outside of the unit was intact and it just froze around it, leaving a hole in the thing. Like a tunnel?
Yeah, maybe. By going from unit to unit. And you notice how the units are kind of connected there when you look at that?
Yeah, well, because it was like a train, right? This was like the underwater train that we were looking at before.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Jerry orders his divers to patrol the outside of the encirclement. We must be sure that our enclosure has made escape impossible for the claw. Everyone report back here in 10 minutes.
Hey, HR.
We get another visitor here. Tim says science. Okay. Let's get caught up on. They might as well say, "Hey, you're kids and you're stupid. Don't question it."
So that's the thing. I don't know if that's the case, though. I'd have to scroll back to the bottom and then back up. This site does not like me clicking on it, or else it opens another tab for an ad or something. But when I look at the ads at the bottom, right, because at the very back is where the ads are, I don't know if this was directed just towards kids. Maybe slightly older teens or whatever, maybe young adults, but these didn't look like the type of things you were selling to kids. And older comics were kind of a mixed thing where like a lot of adults were reading them. They were almost targeted towards adults. Maybe they just figured like the average adult wasn't smart enough to know that this isn't how things work.
Well, you also have to remember too, the kids of this time period were probably considerably more mature in some ways than when we think of kids today. Because if you think about it, the kids of this time period, they were already handling a lot of adult responsibility, a lot more than they would today, because of the Depression and all. And granted, by this point, we're coming out of the Depression, mind you.
Oh, I'm not even worried about that part, because I think we should be telling slightly more mature stories to kids anyway. I think they can handle it as long as the parents are around and, they can answer questions if questions are needed. I'm talking more about like the level of mental maturity expectation, like brain development, right? This does seem a little bit more targeted towards an older audience, but also they would have been written these for like all audiences, so like something that was written for an adult, like a teenager could read too. It wasn't like a mature book that you'd have to buy off the counter or something like that.
Right. So, and then J.R. Hail Zeno and Xena. The 1940s and 50s had pulp men's magazines, which didn't have an analog today. What do you have? Well, first off, this is still 1939. We're not quite into the 40s yet, but
that stuff would have evolved from stuff like this. Yeah, well, do we have? I don't think we do have an analog for that today, because most of that now has just been picked up by like TV, right? You know, or not even like radio shows. So we don't really have too many books that are writing pulps for men specifically, like those adventure mags that, again, this kind of evolved into, where we got pulps that were specifically for men's adventure and subjects, and then we also had comics that were specifically for adventures that kind of went separate from superheroes. They both kind of like stem from these things.
Well, yeah. Well, I know that recently when we were reading some of the Fiction House works, you know, they had some more specific anthologies, like they had Jungle Comics, Planet Comics, and Fight Comics. So
yeah, I think we covered Jungle Comics on one of the ones I was on once, but yeah,
and then of course we covered Planet and Fight recently. Rick and I did a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago. So anyways, let's get back to the. Yeah, you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I literally just scrolled back to the spot when you said let's get back to it.
All right. So, anyways, each diver is armed with an ordinary rifle and a supply of glass bullets filled with acid, one of Jerry's many inventions.
So this is a better way of distributing acid underwater, except guns aren't as effective underwater, even if you can ignite the bullet to propel it, which is rough when your gun is loaded with water. They don't travel so fast because they have to move through the medium of water. A spear gun would probably be better because it's gas propelled.
Yeah. So guide rudder on bullet, metal shell, powder, and fill glass bullet. So let's see. Cutaway detail of bullet. Okay. So Jerry, I don't know.
I can't tell what that is. If that's supposed to be narration, if that's supposed to be somebody saying something, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, the way it's being it seems to be written. I would think that it seems to be
somebody
narration.
talking. Yeah.
Jerry sees a train of units disconnect itself from the trapped units and cruise away. Great Scott, what's that? Suddenly, the breeze from an enemy swell bends Jerry spinning. So you haven't had enough. Water burst into the rear until, as terror-filled souls clamor forward, the claw closes an airtight door on his own men. Then he pulls a lever, cutting the flooding unit loose.
Full speed ahead.
Oh, this guy's a real charmer, isn't he? He just left a whole bunch of his men to die.
I would expect from somebody who was bullying Adolf around earlier in the comic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, um, and of course, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. With that, okay. So Jerry shoots to the surface of the water. Quick to the cars. The ice cars hurtle forward in pursuit. Ice cars, nice name.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how much hurdling they're gonna do with how long it takes to freeze water.
A barrage of shells covers the claw's retreat. One scores a direct hit. Boom! Undaunted, the remaining automobiles race on, trusting to, uh, trusting to judgment. Jerry swerves to the left. It works. The undersea fort crashes against the ice barrier. Crash! The jolt of the crash sets off the munitions stored in a forward compartment. There she goes. Jerry pulls a figure from the water. The claw dead. What a break. This body must be sent to America for a scientific analysis of its once great powers. And so the body of the claw is carried on board an America-bound ship. But what's this? The corpse slowly clenches its talons. Can it be that this creature is still alive? Watch for the claw in America next month's Silver Street Comics.
Okay, so I think I figured out what the problem with the hyphens are in this book, and I think it's a disconnect between the person who wrote the script and the person who lettered it. Right. So every single time a hyphen's used, because I see them after like talents and stuff, unless it's a naturally hyphenated word, which there were like two in this story, I think it's supposed to either be a box change or a line change. Like if you were to hit shift enter to break line to the next line. I think it's supposed to be that in the older way of like, because you had to do this by hand. It's supposed to be a line break, and the person who lettered it didn't realize that it was supposed to be a line break and put all of the hyphens in there anyway.
All right. So, anyways, let's see. I don't know if you noticed this, but we're already past the hour mark. But the good thing is, this was the longest of the stories at 11 pages. So there's some things of Indian lore here.
We want to talk about something that would give people today a headache. It's probably this.
What, Indian lore?
Yeah. One, the name, and then a bunch of like how it's handled. Like this actually would have been great for the time, but this would be considered insensitive today. Like
Yeah.
this is some people would throw a fit over this. I like it.
Yeah, and this wasn't even a comic feature. Yeah, this was like, okay, and I've said this before too. A lot of these comic magazines are kind of more akin to what the analog for today for a lot of these comic magazines would be like the Highlights magazine for kids.
Oh yeah, Highlights or Boys Life was another one that I used to read growing up, where it was mostly comics, but they had a lot of features and articles and stuff in there too.
And here's Captain Fearless by Malcolm Kildale. That red and white kind of look to it.
Oh, I like the monochrome look. I think it's great.
Um, Oh, here's Red Reeves, Boy Magician. This is one of the other ones that I was going to do here. Let me see. Let me see if that might help a bit. Only problem is when you make such an adjustment, sometimes they'll jump you down a few spots, so you're going down a lot. All right, so well, I guess it didn't help that much. Not as much as I'd hoped, but all right. So I'll do the guy in red there, and then you can do the guy in the green right there. Or I'll do the guy in the brown, whatever. I hope I can pull off this job, but I think you'd better do it. So, Spike, you've had more experience.
For cripe's sake. You ain't yellow, are you? This is your job. You got to do it. And you take this gun just in case.
Well, here goes. I hope I make it.
There's swell swaggin' there, ain't? Get it all. I'll keep watch.
Several hours before at the dinner table. So I'll let you do the kid and the okay. So I think that's Red Reeves right there. So I'll let you do him and the woman right there, and I'll do the older guy.
Yeah, let me zoom in a little bit. This is tiny. Okay. Oh, Dad, you ought to see the barn, I think. Yeah, you ought to see the barn I built for Granddad and the giant flowers I made grow for Grandma, all by magic. And we traveled for miles on the back of a... I can't even tell what that is. Genie? I think that's supposed to be Genie.
Yeah, I believe so, Genie. You're too old for fairy stories, Red. I'm surprised at your mother such nonsense.
Come on, Dad. Into the living room, and we'll have a real show.
I hope it's a good one.
Now, don't get scared, Pop, no matter what happens. So here goes. Genie, appear. Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be Genie.
Yeah.
That's a weird way of spelling it.
Yeah, well, because of course, Genie is usually when we think of Genie, it's usually Genie, and then in Japanese they use the word Jin.
Well, this the actual original word is Jin. If you're going to spell a genie that way, it would just be DJINNI. But yeah, usually there's like an E at the end, and it's why it's throwing me off is there's no E in the American spelling of this word.
Yeah. Right. Don't you worry about me being frightened. I've seen some fierce shows before this.
Oh, don't kid him, Tom. Red can do wonderful things. For Pete's sake, I forgot. I have to have a magic marble in my possession, or the magic won't work. That's too bad, Red. You will surely find it. Look carefully.
Some show, Red.
You see, Dad, it's the marble that controls the genie and the magic.
Oh, yeah?
Now, where could I have dropped that doggone thing? I couldn't have dropped it outside. I remember feeling it in my pocket just before dinner. It must be somewhere in the room. But I've looked every place and it could be, and it ain't there. There's the hole in the pocket that it went through. I may as well turn in. Maybe I'll find it tomorrow. If I don't, I'm to miss a lot of fun I might have with it. There's the sound of scuffling in the hall. It's coming this way. What in the world can it be?
Fun stuff there, huh? Metal.
Yeah, it's just him wandering about a marble that he left until he, goes to sleep.
Yeah. So. Trying to remember this guy's voice now.
It's kind of a goofy one.
Yeah. This looks like a pretty swell. This looks like a pretty swell layout. If them solid silver. Oh boy, I ought to get at least $50 for this. Sure, it's easy money. Better than working for $40 a week at a job I can't get. Now for my getaway through the window I left open.
I think it's worse than that. I think that's actually supposed to be $10 a week.
Huh.
Which would be awful, but I mean, even at the time, yeah, that's still pretty low.
But the marble which Red had lost was under his foot. He slipped and came down. Crash! What a dumb fool I am! What a dumb fool I am! That must have waked everyone in the house, and it sounds like they're coming now.
You want me to be the genie?
Sure.
Yeah. I am the slave of that marble that you stepped on, and rudely summoned me from my peaceful slumbers. Now you must die.
For the love of Mike, who and what are you? And be careful with that cheese knife. No, that's not a cheese. I think that's more like a scimitar.
Oh, that is definitely a scimitar for sure.
Yeah.
Ah, here is the little globe you so clumsily slipped on and called me here. You shall not have it, or you would be my master. I shall take it to my young master, for he alone shall command me. You shall go with me, and he shall decide your fate.
Oh, boy. Get this. So the genie's going to take the bad guy to the kid, or the kid to decide what to do with him.
Yeah, well, where the genie comes from, that kid's already old enough that he might be ruling a country, depending on what happened to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The burglar.
Here is the magic marble you lost. Catch! I shall again be yours to command. Now I wish you to decide his fate.
The burglar is brought to Red's bedroom. I was trying to read that before.
Oh, sorry. I'm just the habit of usually how you're supposed to do a panel is top to bottom, and for some reason they don't draw all their panels that way back then.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get that.
Yeah. He was robbing your home. Shall he live or die?
That kid
Shan't
decide my fate. I'll bump him off and beat it.
I wish that gun in my own hand. That's a weird way of phrasing that. I wish that gun in my own hand. Okay, I get it grammatically. That's just weird. Your wishes are my commands. Now, march downstairs. I'm going to turn you over to the police. Hello? Is this the police? This is Tom Reeves. Does that say reside? Oh, residence.
Yes,
sorry, it's one word. Yeah. Tom Reeves, residence. Will you please send a man to pick up a burglar I captured?
Where's the burglar, buddy?
In the dining room. He's well guarded. Mercy me. Who in the world is this strange man?
What in heaven's name is all this ruckus anyway? Hey, let's see. A broth of the by, yes, be having in the lad, Mr. Reeves. A pale hero, he's indeed. Catching this fierce burglar by himself.
This is the stereotypical Officer O'Malley Irish cop. Okay, I get it. Well, the genie helped me catch him.
So long, son. Don't fail to be in court at 9:30.
So long. Don't worry, I'll be there in time, officer.
Let's see. Your Honor, this lad captured the prisoner alone. Good, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. That was a real man's job. Now, prisoner, are you guilty?
The genie helped some.
Yes, I'm guilty, Your Honor, but I was in such a terrible hole. Stealing seemed to be the only way out. I've been out of work for a year, Judge. All my savings were gone. My wife and child serving. We were to be evicted. I was half crazy. Now, does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah?
Doesn't that kind of sound like the mindset of certain individuals today?
The thing is, like, I think that's the mindset of certain individuals in every era, but yeah, we definitely have them today, too.
Yeah, I mean, just excuse after excuse. Anyways, you poor dumb cluck. Do you think you could go straight if I give you a chance?
Don't be too hard on him, Judge. I like how most of these characters don't even need names. They're just judge or prisoner.
Yeah, or cop.
I think Terry has a name, but it's like, they just keep calling him prisoner.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think his name was Spike, I believe.
Or Spike. I thought Spike was the other one. I thought he was Terry.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the poor guy. Have mercy on me. Have mercy, Judge. Let me go. I'll try my hardest to get work, and I promise I will never commit another crime. I think I'll parole you to some responsible person. You say this is your first offense?
Parole him, Judge. With this magic wand, I'll change everything for him. Let me demonstrate its power to you.
Ooh.
Yep. Genie. Build for... his name is John. Okay.
Hold on. Red demonstrates the power of his magic wand and ball.
They really should not put that at the bottom of a panel.
Especially like this.
Yeah.
When you got some of them like crisscrossing each other like this.
Yeah, so what I think the problem here, because children's storybooks were already a thing, or even just like books in general, and a lot of time if you have an image that's depicting something, you will put the caption for the image at the bottom, but that just doesn't work in this medium very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Genie, build for John Jordan, the prisoner. So his name is John Jordan. That's good to know. A nice, rich home in the country. Convey his wife and child there and provide everything they need. Let a vision of this work be shown here in this courtroom now.
Okay. Before I continue there,
Mm-hmm.
just looking at Red right there, Red Reed's right there. How old would you say he is?
I would say maybe prepubescent, so somewhere between 10 to 12.
That's what I was thinking too. And
Yeah.
notice one of the words he used in there, convey. When was the last time you heard a 10 to 12-year-old use the word convey in a sentence?
I don't know, when I was 10 to 12.
Oh, okay. It's something though that you don't really hear too often. Kids use the.
I think convey as a word is almost fallen out of fashion. I don't even see too many older people using it so much these days. Right? It's conveyor belt is probably the only time you're going to hear the root of it.
Right. But, this is certainly extraordinary television. Let's see. If you show me these things are real, I will parole the prisoner to you.
I will prove it at once.
The child. The three stand on a section of the floor, which is whisked away. The child must have marvelous hypnotic powers.
Genie, convey the judge, me and John Jordan to the place you prepared for him. I hear and obey.
This is a new experience.
Don't be frightened. Judge, I've been up with Genie before. It's perfectly safe.
That's reassuring, isn't it?
Well, the kid's alive, so unless he has a genie, so if he breaks any bones, he can probably just wish him better. There's the house, Judge, just as we saw in the vision.
This is all wonderful, delightful, beautiful, and all that, but it remains to be seen whether or not it's going to be a good thing for Jordan and his family to have everything, but they may get used to it. See, that's a good argument right there. What do you say?
Oh yeah, especially if you're just not used to having all that and maintaining it, you could just crash and burn. It's like why anybody who wins the lottery, most of them just end up losing all their money and worse off than when they started.
Right. And then I scroll down because I think.
Oh, you think he's next? Okay. Yeah. I think he'll be all right. After I get him a job, we will have to wait and see how things work.
Mary, here I am. Never again will you have to worry about the future. We are provided for wonderfully. And you want to do Mary right there?
Welcome to our new home. Someone has given us a house and everything.
Isn't that a beautiful sight right there? The
Oh, it is.
Now coming out to the husband there.
I just hope maybe the genie's smarter than the boy. When he wishes for him to have a new job, that it's one that can actually afford all the stuff he just gave him.
Yeah. Jordan, I congratulate you on your good fortune. Now you have no excuse to go wrong. It's up to you. Goodbye. Thanks, Judge. Thank you, Judge, for letting me go. It will never happen again.
Do you think he's first or the dad? Because his bubble kind of goes over his. but
I think the kid goes first.
okay. Dad, can't you find a place for Jordan?
Um, sure, Red. There's an opening in the shipping room. He ought to fit in nicely. Let's see. Oh yeah, that bottom one is the last because I think
Okay.
that's the outro. But um,
How do you like your work here, Mr. Jordan?
it's a swell job. You have been a prince to me, Red. Another boy magician thrill. Screw it. I'm not gonna try to. That's just too
Thrilling
hard to do
adventure
right there.
in the next Silver Streak issue.
Yeah.
So here's another thing too, and you can tell that he's kind of an upstanding guy, or at least there's some part of him, because at no point did he ever throw his accomplice under the bus who helped him break into the house. Like Spike is still just there somewhere, like helping other people do crimes or whatever.
Yeah. So here's Lance Hale, and then here's Calling Duke Kelly, Ace Inspector. So a little crime drama.
Yeah.
Here, let's see where we're at on time here. An hour 24. So I think we're making good time.
Also, didn't that kid wait before the guy would even be born? But that kid almost looked like a young Conan O'Brien, Red.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I mean, due to his red hair and all that, I guess.
Well, he also had like almost the same facial structure, right? To try to make him look young, and Conan's got like a baby face, and he had the same hair flip and everything.
Yeah. All right. So, Calling Duke Kelly, Ace Inspector by Larry Antoinette. Broadcast of a society Deb singer is suddenly interrupted. Now I'm gonna have you do the girl there, but before you do that one, so you do you know what they mean by society Deb singer?
I would assume it has to do with the word debutant or debonair.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm. Again, this was a day of radio. Television was still about 5 to 10 years away, obviously. So you had a lot of radio programs, and amongst those included, some singing, So, anyways, go for it. As I said, I'm going to let you do the girl.
Oh.
Stop, you. Quick, down to the car with the girl. The thugs make a quick getaway with their victim in a high-powered car.
I think that's the girl, right?
Help! In the meantime, the police radio sends out a call. Calling the Duke. Doris Dare kidnapped. Go to NRC Studios. Hurry! Okay. Doris Dare. NRC Studios. Pretty interesting stuff there, huh? The Duke races off. As the Duke's car rounds the corner near the studio, the kidnappers crashes into him at terrific speed. Look out! Hey! The Duke's car is tossed into the air and lands with a sickening thud. Step on it. But the Duke crawls out of the wreckage just in time to see the kidnapper's car speed away. Hit and runner, stop! Later at the studio, you said you're Doris Day's father, or Doris Dare's father. Has Doris ever been threatened by anyone? You want to do the father right there?
Yep. No, not recently. A crazy man sent her some threatening crank letters a couple of years ago. Hicks was his name, but he was put away in the AB insane asylum.
Um, you mean John J Hicks, the millionaire fanatic? Hmm. He was a dangerous man. Let's see. This Hicks is our only clue so far. Um, you knew him rather well, so I brought you along to get him to talk.
You don't think he has anything to do with this? He was a fiend.
I don't know. It's just a hunch. Uh, we'd like to see Mr. John J. Hicks. I'm the Duke from headquarters.
Yes, sir. I'll have an attendant show him to you.
Right this way, gentlemen.
Look, Duke, he's carrying a club.
So I noticed. Why are you carrying a club? At times, it is very necessary. Mr. Hicks is a very violent case. When he becomes angered, he has the strength of 10 men. A month ago, he nearly killed one of our attendants.
Good gosh.
We have him. We have to keep him behind bars. There he is over in the corner. Mr. Hicks? He doesn't answer or even move. Yes, he has been sitting there for 5 days now. He doesn't even touch his food. Oh boy, what could that mean?
That he's dead?
Well, possibly.
Yeah.
Unlock the door. I'm going in. He doesn't even seem to breathe. But be careful. He may attack you. Better take my club. Hey, he's dead. What?
Yeah, going 5 days without food, you could do that, but he needs to also touch that water. You can't go that long. That's not Hicks.
That's the attendant. That's the attendant. Oh, yeah. That's the attendant that Hicks nearly killed a month ago.
I guess he finally got him.
Hicks killed this fellow and escaped unseen in his uniform. Hicks is the man we're after.
Good gosh. We've got to find him. He'll kill Doris, too.
Meanwhile, at the thugs hangout, hey, Spike. Notice another guy named Spike.
Maybe he got a new job.
Maybe a sign of a shared universe there? Maybe the same bad guy?
Nah, that's just a common thug name.
Yeah, I know, but just goes to show you with all that. Hey, Spike, we gotta deliver the girl to the haunted house tonight. Yeah, and pick up the down. Here's the place, and you and Blackie take her in, and don't forget the money. Gee, that's a spooky looking joint. Oh wow! Look at how they're handling her.
You just look at how they're handling these panels.
This place sure gives you the willies. Shut up. This is the room, but where's the dough? Okay, I see the little arrow there. A bundle suddenly drops from the ceiling, suspended by a string. There's your money, now go. Wow! Spooks. Come on, let's get out of here.
Well, they think ghosts are giving them their money?
Step on it, Spike. The place is full of ghosts. Gee, I'd sure hate to be that spirit. That house is really haunted. I'm just trying to figure out which one. So I think the first one is her father, and then the second one is.
Oh, well, also it says, in the meantime, the Duke is on his way from the asylum above it. It's like really
Oh,
dark and hard to read in the clouds.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting on.
All right, well, give me a sec because I'm going to make some
Yeah.
lighting adjustments here. So I'm going to go off camera here to make some lighting adjustments.
Absolutely.
Quick. As soon as I can find the cursor, of course. All right, I'll be right back. So why don't you give some commentary on what we've been reading so far?
Well, I think what we can tell is that the people who write these type of comics do not think very highly of the criminal class of society, because the vast majority of them are idiots. Which, I mean, there's some truth to that. I've met a lot of idiot criminals in my life, but a lot of them are fairly intelligent too. They just decide to go down a wrong path. And it doesn't seem like they let your average thug be anything but an idiot in these comics. Maybe it makes it funnier. I don't know. I don't know why they decide to do that, but that happens to be the case. I also don't know why you would believe that ghosts were handling you your money if it was being lowered down by a rope. I think ghosts wouldn't need a rope to lower money down. It'd be especially dumb to believe that. I do like these old cars, though. Old cars used to look really cool. I don't like modern cars. They're all too sleek. Those slowly we're evolving into those pod shaped things that every cartoon thought future cars were eventually going to be, and I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it at all. Bring me back these huge chunks of metal. Aside from the fact that like newer cars have roll cages in them, I feel like most of them would just crumple like nothing. Oh. I have noticed too that these anybody else watching this, whether it's now or in the future watching the replay, these are probably the worst scans that we've read when I've been on.
Yeah,
So,
they have been
please
pretty
be patient with us.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to what you were just talking about, because I was listening as I was like just doing some lighting adjustments here. Going back to what you were talking about the criminals being depicted as being incredibly stupid and superstitious.
Yes.
Do you remember what Thomas Wayne told Bruce?
No, I don't.
That criminals tend to be a superstitious and cowardly lot.
Yeah, some of them might be. I do think that has just become a stereotype, though, because I know a lot of criminals, and a lot of them are pretty bright. That's why they don't get caught.
Yeah. So, anyways, getting back to the story here, then.
Yeah.
So, okay. In the meantime, the Duke's on the way from the asylum.
We've got to find Hicks in a hurry. He's back of all this.
Yes, but where is he? Say, there's the car that hit me last night. The kidnapper's car. Yeah, there's a car following us. Hey, it's the Duke. Step on it, Spike. I'll send a slug at him. The chase is on as the Duke and the thugs shoot it out at top speed. Bang! Bang! Can't seem to have that anymore, though, can you? In today's comics.
They try not to have guns involved at all, unless like
gun control.
yeah, like the
Right.
only time you're allowed to have guns involved is if the person is completely bulletproof, right? Like with Superman, you can't ever have any like return fire from the hero or anything. Only the hero can get shot, and it's got to be somebody who's not capable of dying.
Yeah. One of the Duke's shots hits the driver of the gangster's car. He got me. The car careens wildly. Crash! You don't get us that easy, copper. Take that. Oh, I'm hit. Out of bullets, the thugs throw his gun at them. I've seen that before too. I don't know if we've talked about it on here before, but I think maybe I've seen that in cartoons or something like that, where okay, you run out of bullets, so yeah, let's throw the gun at the guy. That's gonna hurt him.
Yeah, no, that's a really dumb idea. You'd be better off keeping the gun in your hand, so if you get close to him, you have like a loaded fist weapon. You know, you get club them with it.
Yep. But again, goes back to what you were saying earlier. These criminals seem to be pretty dumb.
Yeah, they are especially dumb, even compared to like the average person.
But bullets won't hit you, but maybe this will. Yeah, right. That guy's a real goof, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I can understand the limited logic here. I think it's like, well, you know, bullets are like this small. The gun is this big, so maybe just having a bigger thing to hit the target. I don't know. The guy.
Might as well just pick up a rock and throw it then.
Yeah, and there's plenty around him too. It'd probably be much better off than throwing your gun away. You might find more bullets later.
Yeah, or get to a point to where you have a chance to reload if you have some.
Yeah.
You know, but then he turns and runs with the Duke in close pursuit. I can't shoot him. I've got to get him alive. He's the only way we'll find Mr. Hicks. The Duke fells the thug with a flying tackle. This'll stop you. Ugh! Don't shoot, Duke. I won't. On one condition, that you lead us to Doris Dare. Okay. There's the place, that house, but I'm not going in there again for nobody. It's haunted. All right, you watch him, Mr. Dare. I'll go in. As the Duke nears the house, a shot knocks his head off. Wow, that was close. A weird laugh rings out from an upper story window. Ha 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 ha! It isn't healthy for snoopers here. Back in the car. Did you hear that? I'm telling you, it's full of ghosts.
I hope Doris is still alive.
The Duke approaches the house, shielded by a hedge.
That's, I mean, I guess it's good for stealth. That's not going to help you in any other way.
In the meantime, in the house, now I shall get revenge on your father. I shall cut you. What was that noise? Someone is in the house. The Duke has entered the house. Wow, that beam nearly got me. Ha! I shall finish you. Suddenly, good gosh, What is it?
It's a reverse Batman.
Before the Duke can dodge, woof! But before he can do anything, ha ha! Now I shall toss you to death. Toss you to death. Very interesting. The Duke comes up swinging.
I think the Duke comes up swinging happened before he can do anything. Just because he's getting tossed in like the next panel.
Okay, yeah. The Duke is sent hurtling toward a brick wall. Ha ha! Every bone in your body will be broken. The tricky thing about the paneling here, right?
Yeah, now this one's a little bit better, though maybe this is a time they should have used arrows, because it follows a natural, like, Z pattern, but their panels have been so all over the place that even if they follow a natural pattern, it's like, no, you got to use arrows all the time because you're confusing us.
Yeah. The Duke grabs for a hanging rope, and on the rebound from the wall, hits the figure full force. Oh! The figure gets up and dashes up the stairs. Ha ha! I shall get the girl first, and then you. The Duke races after him, but is stopped by a heavy steel door. Can't break this down. There's an opening above the door. Good gosh! He's going to stab her. The Duke hurls himself at the murderer. Oof! In the scuffle, he rips off the hood. Mr. Hicks! Mr. Hicks rushes to one side of the room and pulls down a lever. A muffled explosion is heard. You'll never get out of here alive. You'll burn, ha ha, burn. As smoke pours into the room, Hicks disappears into the smoke-filled hall. You'll burn, ha ha ha! Come on, we're getting out of here. The Duke carries the girl to the porch roof. Look at that. Hang on. Which gradually sags with their weight, giving them a safe jump to the ground.
Oh, we made it.
Just as they reach the car, the house... Oh, wait. The house exploded! Another minute and we would have been blown to bits.
Ah, thank goodness. You're safe, Doris. We owe everything to Duke, Dad. Or we owe Duke everything, Dad.
Kind of got twisted on the...
I did, yeah.
Come on, Blackie. After I get you in a safe place, this case will be closed. Mr. Midnight. Let me see, what time is it? Let's see. Where are we at on time here? Hour 48. So I was thinking of doing Mr. Midnight, but I'm gonna skip that one. Go straight to the Wasp.
That's another monochrome one too.
Yeah. Just so we can look through and get to the end here. Already an hour 48, so let's get one more. Here's another monochrome one too. Forest Fire.
Yeah, that's like a little pulp insert.
Factograms. Wait. Solo Patrol. And you notice how mixed these stories are? Have a little bit of everything in them. You had kind of a crime noir. You had a boy magician there. Here's the one. You have a master criminal now. Now here's a mystery man, as they call it. The Wasp by Jay Fletcher, an action detective story in which the Wasp, arch foe of crime, matches wits with a super criminal known as the Professor. A powerful car comes flooring through the night. Look, Chief. There's the only house in the neighborhood. That must be it. First, Bill. Right, Bill. I'll park over by that tree. Two men emerge from the car. Burton Slade, alias the Wasp, and his right-hand man, Bill Barnes, ex-New York detective. You go ahead, Bill. I'll be around later. Okay, Chief. Well, here goes. Good luck to you, Mr. Barnes. Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Well, maybe that is Barnes. Let's see. Stealing up to the rustic house. Baffin's. Baffin.
Oh,
Oh,
Barnes Piers.
Barnes peers in through a battered shutter.
Yeah, I do think that was Barnes. I think because sometimes like you'll say your own name when you're trying to like psych yourself up. So he's like, "Good luck to you, Mr. Barnes," like looking himself in the mirror type thing.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Just as the Wasp thought. When suddenly, shock! When Barnes comes to, he finds himself in the old house. Great guns! It's the professor. So they let you out. Pratt? You want to do the professor there?
Sure. Haha, yes. It's the professor. You fell into my neatly set trap, Barnes. A note saying help was needed. Brought you and your chief, the Wasp, here. I swore I'd get the Wasp for sending me up for a... Is it sending me? Yeah, sending me up for a long stretch as soon as I got out of prison. My men ought to have trapped the Wasp by now. Hurrah!
Funny, we don't see this Wasp guy around. We got his man easy enough. Yeah, he disappeared like magic. He gives me the creeps, Spike.
Again,
The
name Spike.
Spike. Spike, look out! It in that tree. It's the Wasp. I'll get him, Squint. Squint. Okay, Squint. Another somewhat common name for a bug. The two men struggle beneath the folds of the Wasp cape. Ugh! So it's the professor's men. Howdy, boys. Hey, Bob. I suppose you two boys have met before? Inside the house.
We've planned a big hold-up job, Barnes, and we don't want any interruptions, especially from the Wasp.
And so you decided to get rid of us first, Professor. Suddenly, Barnes grabs a lamp and hurls it at the Professor.
Is that the professor?
Huh?
I can't tell who that's supposed to be. Stop him, don't get him away. Or let him away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably the professor.
Okay. Stop him. Don't let him get away.
Get back, or I'll plug you. All right. So maybe. Um. Were you talking to me, Mug? Ugh. Now the professor.
You won't get past that door, Barnes. What's more, there's a guard outside.
At this moment, the door is flung open. Your rear guard just took a day off, Professor. Step on it, Bill. We'd better do likewise.
The Wasp!
Let's see. They're gone, boss. What now?
I'll get 'em yet. Come on, pile in the car. We're going to pull that warehouse job. Step on it!
A few minutes later, the gang car heads for the waterfront. Down the road, hidden among the trees, is the Wasp's car. There they go. There they go, Chief. Step on it. 1 hour later,
All right, boys, let's go. Everything's set, and I don't want any slip-ups either.
meanwhile, under the dock, a powerboat waits to receive the stolen good. In the shading, in the shadows, two figures move toward the boat. I think I should say stolen goods, not good. Okay, Bill. They're certainly taking their time. There, I wonder if something's up. Ugh! That might. Ugh! Here. This will put you to sleep for a while. Bill Barnes poses as the gangster, while the Wasp attends to other details to trap the gang. The boxes containing valuable chemicals are handed to barrels. Here's the last one, boy. This is some haul. I'll say, wait, what the? Hey, boss, quick! That ain't Slug down there. It's the Wasp. And it looks like part of the if you can see there, part of the comic looks like it got cut off.
Yeah. That happened in a couple earlier panels, too, where it almost looked like there was a hair or something on there, but it was definitely, like, scratched out or something.
Yeah. Quick, Bill. Let her go. They're wise to us. Open her up wide. They'll be after us in a minute. Boy, can let's see. Boy, can this baby step? We'll be out of sight in no time. Don't be too sure. Here they come after us.
Oh, accidentally clicked. This site always opens up a new tab when I accidentally click. They won't get away this time.
I
think that's still me. Yeah, we're gaining. All right, boys, let 'em have it.
Uh-oh, that calls for some hard thinking, Chief. Look, a freighter. Say, that gives me. Hey. Look, a freighter. That gives me an idea, Bill. Hold her steady.
That was me. Hold her steady, Spike. I'm gonna take a shot at Barnes.
Bill, what's wrong? Ow! They got me in the shoulder. Ow! They got me in the shoulder. You've got to take the wheel, Chief. Well, here goes. It's our only chance. Let's see. He's going to cut around it. Wow! He made it, boss.
So what? We'll do the same. Get set, men, and it better be good, Spike.
Nice work, Chief. Now I'd like to see them do it with that boatload. Huh? Let's see. Oh. But boss, we'll never cut around that close. I'll have to make a wide turn.
We can't afford to, Spike. They'll have too much a lead. Do as I say. Okay, listen, Spike. If you lose your nerve, I'll blow your brains out.
Okay, boss, okay. But as the gangster's boat takes the turn, I wasn't even sure how it would go, but you kind of.
There were arrows. That confused me at first too.
Oh, there were arrows? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
That ought to finish him. Goodbye, Professor. I wouldn't be too sure, Bill. The prof is a hard guy to say goodbye to. I wish I really knew. Well, we better put this stuff back before they miss it, and then get you to a hospital, Bill. Is the professor really dead? Follow the further exciting adventures of the Wasp in our next issue. And I basically tried to take, because I knew we were basically short on time there. That's why I figured I could at least have you do the professor there, because I figured you would have done well as the villain there. All right. So how did you like all that?
They were thrilling.
Yeah, and you notice, a common gangster name there in Spike, right?
Yeah, I don't even think there was communication about this. I just think everybody likes the name Spike for a gangster, and all just ended up using it.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're just past the 2-hour mark, so I'm gonna try to get real quickly through This Day in Each History segments, and then we'll wrap up here. So today is Friday, August the 11th. 2023. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! 13, 2003, and 83. Okay, so first off, on this date 40 years ago today, back in 1983, the 365th issue of Batman from DC Comics went on sale on this date back in 1983 for 60 cents. It's 32 pages. The title of the story was called Ruins, written by Doug Mensch, penciled by Don Newton, inked by Alfredo Alcala. John Costanza did the lettering, and Adrian Roy did the coloring. Of course, featuring Batman with supporting characters Robin, Commissioner Gordon, Vicky Vale, Harvey Bullock. The Joker was the villain in this story, and Batgirl's Barbara Gordon made an appearance in this. So, story Ruins from Batman number 365. So, on this date back 40 years ago today, the 365th issue of Batman. That was, of course, volume 1 of Batman. Moving on to the next piece of niche history here. Moving ahead to 2003, 20 years ago today, on this date, 2 weeks prior to that year's SummerSlam, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Mark of the Quad in Moline, Illinois. The show saw Goldberg defeat Ric Flair in a no count, no DQ match with Randy Orton as special guest referee. Molly Holly retained the WWE Women's Championship in a triple threat match over Gail Kim and Trish Stratus. Eric Bischoff defeated Kane via countout. Christian retained the Intercontinental title over Spike Dudley. The Dudley Boys defeated La Resistance via DQ. And the night opened with Miss Jackie and Rico defeating Scott Steiner and Stacy Keibler. So that all happened 20 years ago today. And then now moving ahead to 2013. You all right there, Metal?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just chilling so you can knock this out.
Yeah, all right. On this date, 10 years ago today, the Marvel Comics Hulk and the Agents of Smash debuted on Disney XD on this date in 2013. So 10 years ago today, as part of the Marvel Universe block, Hulk and the Agents of Smash premiered on Disney XD.
I saw that show. I hated it.
You hated it? Why did you hate it?
Oh, because it was like it was one of those kid shows where they used a bunch of characters that kids were vaguely familiar with, but they didn't use the characters like they were. They're just like, oh, these personalities were they're just puppets, blank puppets that we could use however we want for the show.
But then isn't that kind of what they're doing with a lot of the comics today? You know, one of the things
and I hate those too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things I've been hearing a lot about, I know Yellow Flash had mentioned this too, on that idea is that, yeah, they don't even, you know, the production companies, the studios, they don't even really care about the comics themselves. They just want the characters so they can use them to make movies.
Yeah, they don't even really want them as characters. They want like icons, right? Like we don't even care about your stories or characters. We just want your icons.
Yeah, well, we know that definitely, don't we? Anyways, if you can stick around a few minutes after we wrap up here, I thank everybody for being here. I hope to see everybody back here on Sunday, including yourself, of course, Metal. See if you want to give your impressions of some of the other panelists on Sunday, what we read tonight. And with that, I hope to see everybody back here on Sunday. Next week, of course, Sunday we'll have the panel show, Monday to Thursday with the news. And then next Friday, of course, we'll be finishing up November of 1939. We're looking through books that went on sale from Quality Commons. And R.J. Carter will be joining me then. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. And I hope to see you all back here on Sunday. Bye.